88% of organizations expect to employ artificial intelligence this year. Only 1 to 5% of enterprise generative AI projects achieve real, measurable value. Handing a massive language model to an unprepared workforce feels like bolting a jet engine onto a rusted bicycle. We are investigating why companies burn millions on automated software just to watch their actual productivity flatline across multiple industries. Our data for this deep dive comes from TechTarget, the AI Journal, Heavy Duty Trucking, and CDC Gaming.
Software deployment metrics actively deceive executives into believing the problem is solved. A dashboard shows 90% of employees logging into a new unified communications platform. Senior management sees that green checkmark and assumes efficiency is skyrocketing across the board. The reality on the floor tells a completely different story.
We see that specific reality inside the corporate conference room, especially when you track what happens the moment a virtual meeting ends. Siali Patil is an AI product manager at the data management platform Splunk. She monitors that exact handoff between the algorithm and the human staff.
The machine transcribes a chaotic 30-minute argument about resource allocation. It then spits out a 3-word action item. Update resource spreadsheet.
Captured tasks suddenly spike by 40 to 60% across the company. The actual completion rate goes completely nowhere. Receiving that automated meeting summary feels like finding a grocery list written in a foreign language stuck to your fridge.
You recognize it's a list of demands? You have no idea who wrote it or what you were actually supposed to buy.
Wait, who actually owns that action item when the meeting ends? If the AI generated the task, whose homework is it?
Vlad Drazdovich has field observations from the strategic communications firm Red Banyan, addressing the immediate fallout of that confusion. Employees pay a massive trust tax. They waste their afternoon fact-checking the software instead of executing the actual work.
An account manager gets off a client call. The system generates a beautiful, bulleted summary. Because that manager knows the machine occasionally hallucinates, they spend the next 20 minutes rereading the entire raw transcript to verify the summary.
They just destroyed any time savings the software provided. The cognitive load of editing a machine's errors often exceeds the effort of just writing the notes from scratch.
The technology exposes undocumented management habits. A team operates for years under the illusion they have a working process. They assume everyone knows their role.
The artificial intelligence steps in and reveals that nobody actually knows who finalizes the budget. Nobody knows who signs off on client deliverables. The algorithm demands clear inputs and clear outputs.
It acts as a giant spotlight pointing directly at disorganized management structures. Workflows look incredibly clean on a whiteboard. They seem perfectly logical in a slide presentation.
They degrade into chaos the moment humans interact with them. If senior leaders treat the application as optional, the staff ignores it completely.
Drazdovich points out that an organization can purchase the most advanced tool on the market. If the vice president continues demanding physical memos, the entire adoption curve collapses.
If the regional director refuses to log into the system and insists on email updates, the team abandons the new software. A machine cannot automate a process that the human managers refuse to standardize.
Executives sit in boardrooms and demand neural networks for their basic operations. They hire outside help because their internal processes are too broken to support the technology. We are watching the creation of a brand new job category specifically designed to manage executive delusion.
Luis Escalante operates as an AI delivery manager at Gorilla Logic. Sid Vangala works as a senior AI applications developer at Mastic. They occupy this exact new role.
Their primary function involves telling eager executives exactly where to ban the software. A company demands an AI integration for their customer support ticketing system.
The AI manager steps in and realizes the artificial intelligence would only ask the customer for the exact same information a standard web form already requires. We essentially invented a 6-figure job title for someone to walk into conference rooms and deny unnecessary technology requests.
Vangala sets the absolute floor for viable implementation at a 1.5x efficiency gain. Anything below that threshold bleeds capital from the organization.
You factor in the cost of the enterprise software license. You add the raw computational power required to run the models. You add the human oversight hours needed to prevent catastrophic errors. You include the massive data storage fees required to train the system.
Organizations purchase vendor solutions because they succeed at twice the rate of in-house builds. Developing a custom model from scratch consumes massive engineering hours.
The internal team spends 6 months building a prototype. They spend another 6 months debugging it. Buying an off-the-shelf product from an established vendor allows the company to immediately test that 1.5x efficiency threshold without drowning in development costs.
The primary skill required for this new role is consultancy. You diagnose the organizational disease before you prescribe the algorithm. Escalante runs extensive discovery sessions.
He maps out the existing bottlenecks. He figures out how mature a company actually is in their daily operations. Applying automation to a broken system just generates errors at light speed.
A bad process executed by an algorithm is still a bad process. It just ruins your quarterly metrics much faster. They force companies to answer fundamental questions about their own survival.
A business wants an algorithm to draft their marketing emails. The AI manager asks who reviews the brand voice. They ask who holds legal liability if the machine hallucinates a discount code and sends it to 50,000 customers.
They map out the exact chain of command before a single line of code gets deployed. This prevents the company from launching a tool that just creates more work for middle management.
The technology only works if the human accountability structure is already perfectly solid.
Uncoordinated management destroys AI adoption in a digital office. We need to look at what happens when you introduce actual physical logistics into the mix. We shift to the transportation industry.
Legacy infrastructure actively blocks modernization. Hans Galland is the CEO of Beyond Trucks. He outlines this specific problem in a heavy-duty trucking report on transportation management systems.
Legacy on-premise software chokes on modern algorithms. Fleet operators try to optimize continental freight routes. Their dispatchers still update whiteboards and physical paper forms. Trying to run predictive analytics on a static spreadsheet feels like streaming high-definition video through a dial-up modem.
Trying to run a modern AI on a dispatcher's whiteboard operates like trying to use Google Maps with no GPS signal. The algorithm is incredibly smart. It remains completely blind to where the trucks actually are.
A system can only improve operations if the staff actually uses it to do the work. The algorithm requires a continuous feed of real-time data to calculate fuel efficiency, driver availability, and route congestion.
If the dispatcher writes the driver's schedule in dry erase marker, the machine cannot optimize that process. The artificial intelligence cannot influence a workflow that exists outside of its digital environment.
Beyond Trucks pushes for modern systems built on multi-tenant cloud architecture. They need that native integration layer. A massive data warehouse must connect directly to the algorithms via fast application programming interfaces.
An API functions as a digital translator. It allows the database to talk directly to the routing algorithm without human intervention. That architecture handles the heavy computational spikes when the system suddenly needs to reroute 50 trucks due to a sudden blizzard in the Midwest.
The local server in a dispatch office simply does not possess the processing power to run those calculations in real time. Customized on-premise systems manufacture massive attack surfaces.
Cybercriminals use algorithms to scan legacy networks for unpatched vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
AI-engineered scams extract credentials with terrifying speed. An older transportation management system sitting on a local server often relies on hyper-customized code.
Because the code is uniquely cobbled together over decades, a standard security patch from Microsoft or Linux might break the entire dispatch operation. IT teams delay the patch out of fear.
They leave the door wide open for automated attacks. A hacker deploys an automated attack, the attack finds the vulnerability, the entire freight operation grinds to a halt.
Multi-tenant cloud architecture operates like a high-tech apartment building. The cloud provider acts as the landlord. A new security threat emerges.
The landlord upgrades the digital locks on every single door in the building simultaneously. Multi-tenant cloud provides the shared computational power and rapid patching required to survive this new threat environment.
The local dispatch office no longer bears the burden of defending against global cyber syndicates.
Casinos demand absolute localized control. We have an industry that challenges the cloud superiority narrative. TableTrek was founded back in 1995. Chad B. Hone is the CTO and president.
They possess over 30 years of PIT data. They built a new automated table games manager. They run the system entirely on-premise using dedicated graphics processing units.
The system runs locally. It never touches the cloud.
Why trap the algorithm in a basement server instead of exploiting the massive scale of the cloud? Every other industry is abandoning local hardware. They are rushing to put their data in remote server farms. Casinos are intentionally dragging the hardware back into the building.
Cloud latency destroys the functionality of a live casino floor. The system must operate in a tightly closed loop. A pit boss stands in a crowded, noisy environment, monitoring thousands of dollars in chip movements.
They use voice commands to control multiple tables instantly, sending that voice data to a remote server in another state. Processing the command and waiting for the response takes too long.
The machine must execute the commands on the spot without waiting for the internet connection. A delay of 2 seconds is an eternity when a player is waiting to cash out their chips.
Hohan tracks a massive shift in supervision ratios directly tied to this local processing speed. The old supervisor ratio was 1 to 6 tables. Now it is 1 to 12.
Human staff cannot physically track that much action or rate players accurately. You have 12 active tables. Players are buying in. Dealers are paying out blackjacks.
The pit boss needs to assign a rating to a high roller so they receive the correct complimentary room. The artificial intelligence tracks the transactions directly through the local network.
It catches the details the human eye misses in the chaos of the pit. The artificial intelligence steps in to execute the tedious, time-consuming activities.
Opening a table used to require a lengthy manual process of verifying chip trays and updating the central management system. The local AI accomplishes this with a simple voice command.
This allows the human supervisors to shift their attention away from data entry. They focus entirely on customer service and catching advantage players.
The local server provides the horsepower. The AI provides the speed. The human provides the judgment.
They found the exact right division of labor. The machine handles the math. The pit boss handles the people.
You must move from a passive receiver of information to an active editor. You cannot just forward an automated summary and expect your team to generate revenue. An algorithm compresses a highly debated strategic decision into a short bullet point.
The manager must reintroduce the context. They must assign clear ownership to specific employees.
If the machine generates 50 action items from a single conference call, the human editor decides which 3 actually matter to the survival of the business. Treating AI output as finalized work destroys team alignment.
Track client growth and revenue. Dresdovich stresses this specific financial reality. Ignore vanity metrics about time saved.
A marketing team uses a language model to generate 200 blog posts a week instead of 20. They celebrate the massive increase in output. None of those posts generate a single new lead.
Doing the same useless work faster guarantees failure. You have to draw a direct line from the automated workflow to cash entering the bank account. If that line does not exist, you are just burning electricity and paying expensive software licensing fees for the privilege.
When the algorithm inevitably assigns you a critical task based on a hallucinated meeting transcript, who gets fired when you fail to execute it? You or the machine. Goodbye.